They say a wedding is the happiest day of a woman's life. But for me, my sister's wedding was the day I realized I didn't have a family. I had a group of people who shared my DNA, but couldn't stand my brand. My name is Maya. In my family, my sister Serena was the golden girl. She was the one who married the senator's son, the one who lived in a world of silk scarves and equestrian clubs. And me? I was the wild card. I'm a documentary photographer. I spend my life in dust-covered boots, traveling to places most people can't find on a map. I have tattoos that tell stories and a heart that doesn't fit into a country club. I loved Serena. I really did. When she got engaged to Julian Sterling, I was the first person she called. I spent weeks helping her look at venues. I even offered to do her engagement photos for free, work that usually costs magazines thousands. "Oh, Maya," she said, looking at my portfolio of war-torn cities and tribal ceremonies, "your work is so raw. But we're going for timeless elegance. I think we'll stick with the studio in Manhattan." I brushed it off. I thought she just wanted a different style. But then the invitations went out. Serena was having a destination spectacular in a private castle in the Scottish Highlands. My parents were flying over 3 weeks early. My brother was the best man. I waited for my invitation. I waited for my dress fitting. It never came. 10 days before the flight, my mother invited me over for tea. She couldn't even look me in the eye. "Maya," she said, stirring her cup nervously, "Serena is very stressed. The Sterling family, they are very traditional. And Serena is worried that having you there, with your, eclectic look, might raise questions with Julian's grandmother. It's about the photographs, honey. She wants a perfect, cohesive aesthetic." I felt like she'd slapped me. "You're excluding your own daughter from her sister's wedding because I don't look like a porcelain doll?" "It's just for this one event, Maya. We'll have a lovely brunch for you when we get back. Just family. We even bought you a nice sweater to wear for it." I didn't argue. I didn't cry in front of her. I walked out of that house, went to my studio, and I deleted every photo I had ever taken of my family. If I wasn't part of their aesthetic, they didn't deserve to be part of mine. I want to stop here. Have you ever been told you're too much for your own family? Have you ever been hidden away like a shameful secret? Tell me your story in the comments. I'm reading them all tonight. While they were in Scotland, pretending I didn't exist, I was in Tokyo, then Nairobi, then Paris. I stopped answering their texts. I stopped checking Serena's Instagram. I poured every ounce of my hurt into my work. And it paid off. My exhibition, The Unseen World, became a global sensation. I wasn't just a girl with a camera anymore. I was a name. And then I met Liam. Liam was an architect from Dublin, a man who built cathedrals out of light and glass. He didn't want me to be cohesive. He loved the dirt on my boots and the stories in my eyes. 2 years after Scotland, Liam and I decided to get married. But we weren't going to hide in a castle. "Maya," Liam said, holding my hand as we looked at a map of the world, "your family wanted an aesthetic. Let's give them a masterpiece." I am a photographer. My entire life is built on a network of people who see the beauty in the unconventional. I didn't want a wedding planner. I wanted a director of experience. We chose an ancient, open-air amphitheater in Greece, overlooking the Aegean Sea. And the guest list? It wasn't about tradition. It was about the people who had actually stood by me. Because of my work, I had friends in every corner of the earth. I invited the monks I'd lived with in Bhutan. I invited the fashion editors from Milan who had championed my work. I invited the human rights lawyers I'd worked with in Geneva. I invited a legendary rock star I'd photographed for a cover, who promised to play the processional. The guest list was 400 people. It was a riot of color, language, and culture. We had silk saris next to leather jackets. We had billionaire tech founders dancing with street artists from Rio. It was the most eclectic crowd in the history of weddings. And it was beautiful. I didn't send my parents an invitation. I didn't send Serena one either. But I did send a press release to Harper's Bazaar. The headline read, "The world's most influential wedding. Photographer Maya Vance and architect Liam O'Shea to unite the globe in Greece." My sister called me 3 days later. Her perfect sterling life was already showing cracks. Julian's family was obsessed with status, and suddenly, I was the one with the highest status in the family. "Maya, oh my God, I just saw the article." Serena's voice was high-pitched and desperate. "Why didn't you tell us? Mom and Dad are so hurt. We've been waiting for our save the dates." "Oh, Serena," I said, leaning back in my studio chair. "I thought you'd understand. We're going for a very raw aesthetic. It's about the unseen world, remember? And honestly, Julian's grandmother, I wouldn't want to raise any questions for her. Our guests are very eclectic. I don't think you'd fit the vibe." "Maya, that's cool. You're our sister." "I was your sister in Scotland too, Serena. But I wasn't cohesive enough for your photos. So I've decided to make sure my photos are perfect. And in my version of perfection, you're not in the frame." The wedding was a dream. We didn't have a strict fire code. We had a bonfire that lit up the Grecian night. We didn't have a cohesive aesthetic. We had a beautiful, messy, global celebration of love. The rock star played, the monks chanted, the fashion editors danced until sunrise. The photos didn't just go into a private album. They went viral. They were on the cover of 3 international magazines. People called it the wedding of the century, not because of the money spent, but because of the souls present. My parents tried to fly to Greece anyway. They showed up at the hotel the day after the ceremony. I met them in the lobby. I was wearing a white linen dress, my hair salt-crusted from the sea, looking exactly like the wild card they had tried to hide. "Maya, please," my mother sobbed. "We just wanted to see you. We're so proud of you." "You're proud of the magazine cover, Mom," I said. "You weren't proud of the girl in the boots. You wanted a daughter who fit a mold. Well, I broke the mold, and I built a world where you don't have a seat at the table." "Are you ever going to forgive us?" my father asked. "I already have," I said, smiling. "I forgave you the moment I realized I didn't need your approval to be beautiful. But forgiveness doesn't mean an invitation. I have a life to live now, and it's much too big for your traditional world." Serena and Julian are still together, but I hear they sleep in separate rooms. The Sterling family name didn't protect them from the coldness of their own hearts. Liam and I, we're currently in the Andes. I'm shooting a new series, and he's designing a school for the local community. Sometimes I look back at that nice sweater my mother bought me for the brunch I never attended. I keep it in my studio. It reminds me that some people will try to keep you small so they can feel big. But the world is a very, very large place, and if you're brave enough to be eclectic, you'll find that the best guest lists are the ones that never end. Rate this story from 1 to 10. Was I too petty, or was it time to put myself first? Subscribe for more stories of the women who stopped waiting for an invitation and started throwing their own parties.